Boss Rush 500 Day 3. So I've got a couple solutions to this one, but the first fight, the Echo of Medivh fight in general, just has a lot of randomness to it. So there's a certain amount of that you're just never going to be able to get around. But the solution here is involving Drek'Thar's second equipment with arcane resistance, and this is actually bugged to give twice as much as the tooltip states. So this rank here would give 118. So we actually got a bug in our favor for once. So you want this at least rank 15 if you roll for really low arcane anomalies, and you can kind of squeak by. But the higher it is, the higher anomaly you can handle and the more consistent you'll be. For this first comp, we're using an all reality strategy, and we're actually running unequipped on Malchezaar here, because all of these are actually negatives for the strategy that we're attempting here. Just quickly, the other strategy is going to be involving Baron Geddon. So there's two options with the Geddon strategy. One is to bring out Hooktusk at the start and turn the Echo of Medivh red, so that your Geddon crits him, and then you get one fewer Artillery Strike Mercenary. Or you can just bring Genn out right at the start and swap this Hooktusk for a fourth Artillery Strike Mercenary. So I'm going to be doing it with the Hooktusk one. There are some complications with the Hooktusk. It's a little bit simpler to just use Genn. Depending on the anomaly rolls, it can be hard to finish your Hooktusk off and a few other things, but we'll give it a try. So back to the original comp here, we're using our prop knife, our Battlecry cannon, the arcane resist equipment. We're running unequipped here, so if you've got an equipment, you just drag it off. I'm using the swashbuckling sash, which is the best equipment for potentially killing Ragnaros at the end if she needs to actually fight him, but she shouldn't need to. And then we're using our heal equipment here. Now there are two approaches even with this comp, which are to either kill off all your non-artillery mercenaries at the start, or at the end of the first fight rather, and then you would kill off Ragnaros with your Genn and your Rogers. To even attempt that strategy though, you need a pretty beefy Genn and Rogers, and your heal and your summon from Genn are going to need a certain level of upgrade to even attempt that. And it's going to depend on your fire anomaly roll from Ragnaros. And then the level of your Master Tactician heal is also a tiny bit relevant for doing it that way. The way that we're going to do it though here is should work for a larger spectrum of upgrade levels, and we're just going to not kill anyone off. So we're going to make it through the first fight with everyone alive. It reduces your chance to hit artillery, but it makes the Ragnaros fight significantly faster and easier and more consistent, so we're going to go with that option. And then to go over the equipment on the Geddon comp, it's pretty standard stuff. Just the prop knife there, Mark of Conflag, the arcane resistance, the healing equipment, and then the other artillery mercenaries. It should not really matter what you use on them. I am using this on Rogers just in case something goes wrong at the end on killing Ragnaros and you say you lose your Geddon. She, along with Genn, can kill him quickest with this equipment. So let's get into it here. And I've also messed with my audio settings a bit, so hopefully the audio levels are a bit better and it sounds a bit better. So for the rolls, regardless of which comp, you want low arcane damage. So 172 is a bit too high for the amount of arcane resist I have, and even if you have really high arcane resist on your Drek'Thar, the Power of the Guardian skill that Medivh uses it doubles the damage from arcane. So if you get a high roll and he uses that ability a lot and it doesn't hit like your summons, you can still die, even if you have a crazy amount of arcane resistance. So you really want to roll, an average roll is like 125 at 500, but we would like to see below that. So this is a pretty good one, we can go with this. Ideally, the low rolls are usually around 70. Anything under 100 is, I would consider, good. So with this strategy, we are going to Cutthroat the red and make a dog and make a cannon. So you can see I'm taking no damage here from the equipment. And then turn 2, we're going to make this guy blue. We're going to bounce our own Eudora. And then Drek'Thar doesn't do anything unless you have an empty board slot. And your positioning is also kind of relevant because of what just happened. So he double cast the summon, which put the rightmost mercenary ended up on his bench. And so you want your Drek'Thar to be that mercenary because he's the easiest copy to deal with. So now we're going to bring out our Malchezaar. And we can turn him green now, but if we do that, he'll get a bleed on him. So I'm going to wait until he gets a little bit of damage. And then we want to look at the order here. So this is perfect. You want this Echo gone. So him getting hit by all realities is good. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and bleed him because he's casting Power of the Guardian. If he was casting something, if he's casting the summon instead, I would probably wait. But I don't want him to get crit by a big hit from this and die. And then we just do nothing here, I think. And these cannons, if they survive, will finish him. A lot of the times if you don't change colors here, you can shoot this middle ability here at Medivh to finish him off in case the cannons die. You also can use Fel Corruption, but I think with this setup we have here, it's an unnecessary 5 damage to my board, so I'm going to pass on that. Good hit. Another good hit. And now you also want to pay a little bit of attention to the positioning of your cannon relative to this Arcane Anomaly ad, because if he has the Starfire Blessing, you don't really want to shoot him unnecessarily. So we're going to position like this. You could also put this cannon over here so it could potentially finish this guy. But we're not too worried about that. So this would hit the middle guy, so you should never really cast this because it just gives you unnecessary Starfire Blessing activations. He's acting at 7. We normally would kill this off with the wolf, but they ended up killing all of our wolves. So we could kill it with the Fel Corruption. But I think I'm just going to swing here instead. And then we can change... So what we're going to do here is we're going to get a bleed on this guy and change him back to blue afterwards. Okay, so we're going to change him back to blue. And we're just spamming summons here. And we're just not going to act with him. Okay, now we get another realities. It's going to kill this guy. Now we're basically just passing turns. And we can get another prop knife heal here. And there's no reason to do anything with Drek'Thar because the board's full. Now we do want to kill Drek'Thar off at the end here, and his health's a little bit too high. So, let's see, we prevent 118, so he'll take like 1 damage from this. Do I want to swing now? Because he might need to swing twice. There's no way to damage, like this can't target friendly, he can't damage your own guys, so our only way to take damage with him is whatever this does to us, or swinging. So I'm going to pass this turn. I could change... Let's heal him and swing with them. That way he goes a bit higher, so he won't die to chip damage prematurely. Or we'll do it next turn. We have 2 turns before he needs to be dead. So let's say all 3 of these hit him. He takes 10 damage each, so he could take 30. That makes it awkward. And if we make him red, then they do even more. And this will heal the bleed fully off of him if we do that. Okay, we might have to delay all realities just to ensure this. Because if I swing now, he could potentially die whether I color change him or not. Because he would take 60 if he's red. So let's not color change, and we'll see what this does. And we'll not swing. It's usually not this complicated. He's usually the attack and health lines up where he can just kind of swing in. Alright, this is much safer. So we'll attack and we'll just delay this 1 turn. Okay, now we all realities. He'll go to 5 HP when he acts at 4 speed. Then we'll swing. And the bleed would ensure he died even if the swing didn't kill him. We just want the Drek'Thar dead for artillery strike odds. Like, you can still win if you end the fight with him alive, but you've got lower odds to hit artillery. And I was playing around, like, it was a 1 in 6 that had to hit, like, all 3 times. If you get this snipe to rank 30, which only costs, like, 2100-ish renown, it can actually kill Snowclaw. So if you miss artillery strike, this can be an alternate way to get past Snowclaw. But we hit, so we're good. It's still not a guarantee though, because the totems go out before the snipe. So I think it can snipe one of the totems. So it'd still only be a 1 in 3, even if you had a rank 30 snipe. So see, yeah, it can hit the totem. You can all realities him, but it gets awkward. If you were to snipe one of the totems, though, it's less awkward. So you'd probably have to hide your Malchezaar on the bench, and then either use Eudora bounce or have someone die to bring him out once his realities cooldown is available, and then you would be able to deal with that. This one would be the best treasure to take here, since I already have sufficient artillery strike on my other guys. I'll go ahead and take that. That would only be relevant if you end up failing the all realities somehow and you have to actually fight the Ragnaros. Then you can use that Worgen transformation to buff your Rogers up and heal yourself at the same time, and then Rogers can get some swings in addition to her even speed abilities to kill him faster. Okay, and I don't think these matter too much. It's probably this one just to have an even speed. And I could take like this for more damage instead because I do have another artillery, but it doesn't matter. Ragnaros' abilities are all too slow for that to actually ever do damage to him, so it doesn't really do anything. Okay, so our strategy here... Oh, if that snipe was big enough, you could, I think, spawn the Ragnaros and then artillery strike it, maybe? That's kind of interesting. Not sure if that works or not. It probably doesn't work. I don't think he comes out till after both activate. So our strategy here is we need to turn him blue, and we want to leave our Malchezaar on the bench because we don't want him to die before his cooldown's available. So we just put out 2 other guys, and these are the least likely ones to die. And he's also got Meteor, so I would rather my Genn take a Meteor cleave that was targeted on Hooktusk, so we're going to put Genn in the middle. Okay, so this is not big enough to kill my Hooktusk. If it were, you might want to go ahead and Turnabout Strike immediately, but because it's not, I'm going to do this, and we are going to make Worgen, and there's no reason to swing. Okay, and now that also put a bleed on him, so it ensures he'll die when we all realities, even if we lose a bunch of stuff. So now, even though we've already bled him and we could use this, we want to guarantee that we can bring our Malchezaar out next turn. So I'm going to swing here. And because these are exactly health and attack are matching, she's going to be at 26 HP. So I want her to take 26 damage. We're just going to heal ourselves. Oh, I forgot about the heal. So that's a little bit of a problem, but we can just wait until we end up killing her off some other way. So she should die here. And it's also fine if Genn dies. I guess I'll go ahead and make Genn a caster as well. Although I may have... Yeah, I healed her too much. Okay, yeah, that's fine. I changed the colors, so yeah. Okay. We're good there. Because she got crit from the turnabout, turning her red. So now, we'll position like this. And now it should just be all realities and we win no matter what. But we'll go ahead and cast here. Just for the fun of it. Not give Ragnaros the satisfaction of killing our Genn. So there you have the all realities strat with not killing off your mercenaries at the start. So good luck on your runs if you're going with that comp. And 16 turns, not too bad. So I'm going to go ahead and go through this again. And we're going to show the Geddon comp as well. I've not had the greatest success with this, but I may have just had bad luck on those runs. Also, my Geddon is smaller than some other people, but the way that I was dying typically, a bigger Geddon wouldn't have helped with. I would have still died. This is too high of an arcane roll. So you do have to reset a little bit to get a good roll. So a normal roll is like 125. We can go ahead and attempt those, but ideally we want that sub 100. And the higher your arcane resistance, the more you can handle. But those Power of the Guardians will still get you. As a general rule of thumb, if you were to level a mercenary to level 500, so like the mercenary's level itself was 500, the cheapest way you could do that by only upgrading the cheapest upgrades, going back and forth between treasures, equipment, and abilities, would be you would end up with 25 in your abilities, I think it's 37 in your equipment, and 52 in your treasures. So if you think about what power level you should be at for this level of run, you should have about 25 in your most important abilities, and you should have about 37 in your most important equipments for the way that they kind of tuned the scaling. Most of us are still below that for most abilities, but if you think about like how big should my Geddon be to farm at 500, you probably want like around 25 in your Inferno, and then around 40-ish in your Conflag. You do have to keep... I don't know if those numbers line up exactly, because with Geddon you have to alternate between your equipment and your Inferno to make sure you're paying the same renown per point of damage, but it's around that ballpark. I'm getting a bit unlucky here with these anomaly rolls. It usually does not take me this long to find one. We can try this. It's kind of high side, so it might look more difficult than an average run. For this, you would want to have like 25 points in your arcane resistance, ideally. So we just make him red. And I've tried this starting with Genn, but because we rolled no attack on this red guy, it makes it hard to get your Hooktusk killed off. And if you take too long, you're exposing yourself to more RNG from the the power of the Guardian. Okay, so we can make somebody a caster. We can heal, we can bleed. Or we can just shoot. We can turnabout strike here. I think we just go for making sure we get rid of Hooktusk. The problem with this play is if this kills Hooktusk first, then we shoot ourselves somewhere. But I think I can live with that. I just really want her gone so we can get Genn out here and start comboing. Okay, good hit. The worst, that's probably the worst hit. So you can never heal this Drek'Thar, so you're limited to whatever hit points he has. The only way you could is if you could get Rogers out, but then there's no way to like swap her out. I guess you could bring Eudora and do a bounce on the Drek'Thar, but then you're stuck with Eudora on the board. It's just messy. So now you just middle ability for the rest of the game and hope for better RNG. So, okay, yeah. So this is already going to be a loss. There's no way we make it through this many turns. You can limp through it with Drek dead at the end, but when they have this much HP, it's not possible. So you can see how much RNG there is in this run. I've had much better success with the Malchezaar comp. And whether my Geddon could do 500 damage a turn, or 700 damage a turn, or 250 damage a turn, it would make no difference. It's all about the anomaly roll and the ability RNG, and then how much arcane resistance equipment do you have. The only thing a bigger Geddon helps is it makes it take fewer turns. So you get exposed to less RNG if you finish faster. And he would have a bit higher hit points. So he would himself die a bit less often. But typically it's the Drek'Thar getting killed that will get you. And your Drek'Thar tends to be the lowest health unless you've invested in him for some other reason, like getting his Shimmerweed equipment really high. Okay, this is a great roll. We did not get attack on the anomaly though, so it could be better. You could have like even more of this arcane damage go away and give him some attack. So in this case, because he's so low, I'm going to start shooting our Hooktusk right away. So we just need her to die. And the little bit of non-combo Inferno damage is not worth anything. And since the Arcana is so low, she's not even taking damage from the opponents. I could even do 5 damage to her with this, but I think we'll not. So if you have your Genn out at the start instead of Geddon, then her Turnabout Strike and her Cutthroat will both heal her, and then trying to get her off the board to get Geddon out is even more difficult. You can also try to start without Drek'Thar in play, but there's so many ways that that can go wrong depending on the enemy abilities. There's just a lot of incoming damage sometimes. So this one should be a win. And then all we're doing now is spamming our second ability, summoning wolves if there's board space, and then at the very end we want to make sure our Drek'Thar dies. And we're focusing down Medivh because he's the only source of risk here. It's also why we don't care that we had to change this back to blue to kill off Hooktusk. It doesn't matter how long it takes to kill this Anomaly guy. Oh, and he made extra copies, so those are going to come out off the bench at the end. So we'll have to keep that in mind, because this Anomaly guy has that skill that makes him double cast, and if the summons line up right after that, then it'll put an extra copy of your board on his bench. But we will want to kill Drek'Thar off before that, if possible. Before those come out. Because they'll have they'll be 10/10s, and we don't want to risk them dying before we can kill our Drek. So we want these high attack values to swing into with Drek. I should probably click to dismiss these cards a little less often for videos, because I know that makes it easier to follow, but it's such a habit for me. I've done so much grinding in this mode that I just instinctively click everything away to speed up the animations. Ooh, that's not a good hit, but that's fine now, and he's dead, so we're good. It is fine if your Geddon dies, you just might have a more difficult Ragnaros fight. Okay, so now we need to think about finishing off our Drek'Thar. And I guess we'll get to slowly clean up these ads on these next couple of turns. I'm gonna go ahead and shoot him once now. And that should prime him to die to his attack later. It might have been premature to do that. I should have maybe waited till this guy died. But we should be okay regardless. These animations for him replacing from the bench are really slow. Okay, a living bomb. I guess we'll swing here. And that guy should die before he acts. You can also swing with these wolves if the targets that they would hit have less attack than their hit points. I thought he would have died. Oh, he has the fire. I forgot about this fire resistance passive, so I should have shot him with Genn as well. He should still be okay. I think that's actually going to kill my Drek'Thar if I don't transform my Genn. It's a little bit early. I'm going to go ahead and do that. So yeah, don't make that same mistake there. And as I was saying, you can swing with these if your Genn heal is bigger than the attack of the thing you're hitting, but you should pay attention to the Starfire Blessing because you'll cause extra activations of it. So in this case, I do not want to swing this turn since he's casting that. I could have swung last turn, though. Okay, and I'm going to transform back, and I'm going to not act with Geddon. Okay, that's fine. And now we should be able to go ahead and finish him off. So this will kill our Drek'Thar. And I probably should have swung with these as well. Especially because we risked the Geddon there. Yeah, it would have been better. You should swing with those wolves in it. I didn't want to do the math, though. I figured I would just finish him with Genn if he lived. So this is what you want alive. Your artillery and your Geddon. And that'll be either 3 or 4 artillery guys. Take the fire damage. So now we just burn down Ragnaros at the end. Voone can get the fire ritual treasure, but he is green against the red Ragnaros, so this, you never get melee attacked, and I guess we could bring everyone out, but I'm just going to take the Warden one, which is pretty good. We'll take the fire ritual. So the bigger your fire ritual treasure and the bigger your Geddon, the more likely you'll be able to kill Ragnaros in 2 turns, or if they're really big, maybe even 1 turn. But you can still survive and take longer than that to kill him if you need to. He only gets around like 1700 to 2000 hit points usually. So we're going to use Voone because we got the treasure, and then I'm going to put Genn in the middle. Use our treasure, do our damage. Ragnaros just does a bunch of slow stuff. He does Meteor, Die Insects, and I think he has one other attack that's also slow. Fireball Storm, that's the other one. The Antonidas attack. So he doesn't have the same moveset as regular Ragnaros. I don't think he can cast Magma Blast. And there you have the Geddon run. So a couple different options, and then there's the third option, which would be to use the Malchezaar comp and try to kill your guys off at the start. If you attempt to do that, though, you probably need to avoid putting bleeds on the enemies because it makes them die after their all realities, and then you're not able to kill your Malchezaar off at the very end. So you have to manipulate that a little bit. But 19 turns, pretty similar to the other comp, and you could go faster if you have a bigger Geddon. So good luck on your runs.